Hi, this is Gemma Rosenthal at Creative Hearts, and today's video I'm going to talk about why is it so hard for us to share our voices and what stops us.
It's definitely not me. Not me, not you and your critic.
And also how it has to do with women, specifically how women feel sharing their voices, because it is coming up to International Women's Day. And yeah, I've been in a few books with women. I've got this one, Words of the Wise, Stories of Awakening Journeys, and also The New Woman, Stories of Kintsugi Experiences. So as you can see, there's all these different women's voices on there. And also another book called Treasure, which was from lockdown. So why is it that all these women's anthologies are coming about, and stories from women and their voices, and why is it that a lot of these stories haven't been heard previously? If you read some of these books and the stories in it, it's like a lot of the women's wisdom has been previously either totally eradicated from history or also like kind of mocked or dismissed in a way. And I talked about that in my recent poem, As a Woman. I'll put the links below for that as well. If you want any of these books as a signed copy, then drop me a message. And so when we're trying to speak as women, sometimes there's that fear that we will be laughed at, or that what we have to say perhaps isn't as intellectual or logical, because it includes emotions and feelings and spirituality and insights, and it has that flow. And sometimes things aren't linear, sometimes things aren't always connected to facts and figures in that kind of way that's like, okay, this happened and then this happened and then this happened. Sometimes it's more dreamy. Sometimes it's more, well, I had this feeling and then I experienced this thing, and I think these things are connected, and I think that's the reason why I have to go and do this thing. And sometimes it's just simply something that you've felt and but because you're not able to sort of tie that to maybe something that's written in something else that validates it, it can be hard to speak about these things. And I'm not saying that it's not hard for men as well. It is hard for men as well. And that's why we need to change it. We need to create spaces where we can freely speak about these things, about these spiritual experiences, about these knowings, about these insights, about these creative things, where, we're not going to be mocked about that. And if we are mocked, because I've been going through some various things on the internet, and it's just like people putting down these things, and it's like, this is why people find it so hard to speak. This is why it feels so scary to actually share about your experiences and put it out there. This is why it hurts so much, and why so many people that have so much to offer and so many gifts just shut themselves away. It's people just making stupid comments and unkind words and laughing at people.
You're weird.
When actually what we should be doing is looking within ourselves.
What, me?
And going, hang on a minute, these things can change the world. These things have something to offer. I don't know if I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I think it all ties into why it feels so hard to share our voices, especially as women. because we do tend to have these intuitive experiences, these knowings, this body sense of what's happening, you know, and when we share our voice, you know, even other women can mock us or like make us feel stupid. So when I was younger, I got given a book on dreams by my friends as a joke, and I was like, how is this a joke? I like dreams. I like interpreting dreams.
Ooh, you're such a dream weirdo.
And that's kind of one way of like how I was kind of laughed at when I was younger for being deep or being like spiritual, but I didn't even know I was spiritual. I just knew I liked to interpret dreams or whatever. And like, I think whenever we have anyone who laughs at, I'm using the word mock a lot today because I think it's actually more detrimental than, say, like somebody just criticizing and going, you know what, I didn't really like that. I think it's when someone makes fun of something that actually hurts the worst. So I think what's really upsetting me at the moment is because Marianne Williamson's going for president of the United States again. And like even I'm scared to even share on here that I support her, which is ridiculous because she's really helped my life. Like, seriously. I've met her, I've seen her speak, and yeah, I think she's a genuine person. But then I'm going through all the comments online, and I shouldn't do this, and I'm seeing that people are laughing at her.
This means they're laughing at you, because you are strange and spiritual.
And I just think if you're going to laugh at someone that's helped people through really serious things like depression or anxiety, or just bigger than depression or anxiety, like despair, I just think you've got a lot of growing up to do if that's your life, if you want to make fun of people that are going into the depths of their mind and trying to see things differently. Because that's what A Course in Miracles says. It says, you know, I want to see this differently. So yeah, I think when it comes to sharing our voices as women, as men as well, but anyone who wants to share something that's a bit deeper, a bit more, maybe you fear that it might be laughed at or judged, I think what you have to go back to is the core of your message, the core of who you are. So you need to trust that your message is good, as in, like, okay, don't trust it completely because you might have a bad message and you need to check yourself. You do need to check yourself. Like, if you're giving a message and actually you need to check in, is this good? Does this help? Is this worth doing? Is this worth saying? And if it's not kind, if it's not helpful, I've forgotten what this is called. Somebody did this thing where you ask yourself these questions. Is it helpful? Is it kind? Is it necessary? And there's a fourth one as well. Bernard Meltzer was a radio host, ran an advice call-in show from 1967 to the 1990s, and they said this: before you speak, ask yourself if what you're going to say is true, is kind, is necessary, is helpful. So that's the quote. So I just read that from Google. But I'd remembered it because it's important. It's important that when we say things, it's kind, it's necessary, and it's true, and it's helpful. So I think if you go by those rules, you can be sure that, you know, that you're doing okay. If you think about those things before you say something or before you put something out there, then you should be pretty sure that, okay, this should be fairly helpful. Okay, and then if you've done that and people are still reacting in a negative way, it's probably because they've got something inside of them which is fearful of the good, true, helpful things. And it's sad to say, but some people are afraid of love. That's my single. My first video that I put out, full video, professional video, was afraid of love. And yeah, it's sad to say, but some people are afraid of love. And we have to be really generous to them in our perception. We have to. Why? Because if we're trying to love, we need to be kind to people who can't love. If this makes sense. You know, if that's our goal, to be kind and helpful, we need to understand when some people can't be kind and helpful, and it's a sad world. It's a really sad state that we're in where people can't be kind and helpful. So yeah, I guess the reasons why it has been hard for us to share, especially as women, is because there's a history of cruelty. And, you know, that it's a hard thing to think of, but we fear that happening again to us. We fear being rejected, being laughed at, etc. Even worse, in some countries, you know, it can lead to death, and that is a scary thing, but it happens to people where if they speak out against a certain thing, you know, they can die, and that's really sad and frightening. So I guess where the solution comes is for those of us that can speak out where our life's not in danger, is to remember these things, to be kind and helpful, and to just forgive. Like, let people think what they're gonna think, allow people to have their opinions, but at the same time stay strong in who you are and what you believe, and what you know. You know, it's not about belief, it's about knowing and feeling inside that, you know, within your core, you know who you are and you know what you say matters. And I think coming back to those kind of mantras, that who you are matters and what you say matters, because even if you say some things that aren't exactly correct, or, you know, you didn't use the right wording, as long as you come back to those core values of what you believe in, you know, and you be fair to other people, then, you know, say what you will and just let it land where it lands, and try to allow other people to have their opinions as well. And, you know, it's okay for people to disagree with you, but it's not okay for them to mock you, and you don't deserve that. So I think it's recognising the boundaries that you have with yourself, with like, okay, I'm not going to tolerate certain behaviours or unkindness, but you just forgive that person anyway, because there's nothing else to do. Yeah, so it's all just about that. And yeah, I might just read a little bit. Let's see if I can. As I put the phone down, I felt a sinking in my stomach of worry and doubt, yet equally a joy and elation and honour at having been asked to perform. Thoughts swirled around my mind. I'm barely even making it through the day. I now have to go and stand up in front of a crowd and dance and sing for all these amazing, inspirational people. I don't even know what I'm going to do. As I am thinking about this, I feel the bus start to move more lightly. The sunshine seems to shine more brightly, and I find myself humming and tapping my foot on the back of a seat in a slight rhythm of hopefulness and possibility. So that was a really random section, but yeah, one sec. Part of the reason why I think that part came out, I mean, I just opened it on my page where I wrote that section. I think it's to do with, okay, we can feel doubt and we can feel nervous, but when we tap into the rhythm of possibility, that's when we start to get our inspiration. We get our inspiration from things around us, and we can start to have confidence in our voice, because it's not just our voice, it's the universe's voice. Because when the universe speaks through you, you can know that what you're saying is actually going to be helpful, going to be necessary, because you are speaking, obviously, because it's your voice, but you're connected to things around you, and you're connected to other people in that sense, because you're being spoken through, and your voice has meaning in that way. So if you'd like to join me and other creative hearts in finding your voice, then you can follow my pages, creativehearts.coach and Gemma Rosenthal, and you can find the information on there. And I will put links below as well for the next workshops, and you can do one-on-ones as well. So it's about finding out what's stopping you from using your voice, and know that hopefully these tips, which I've already given, can help you. And we'll see you soon.
I think I get it. I get it now. I'm not sure.